Alright, so the Spooky Cup is coming up here for 2021 on Sword and Shield. This was just announced a couple days ago. Just like all these tournaments, you're going to have 15 battles per day. So you can play a maximum of 45 battles for the weekend, and you get 50 battle points for participating. And you have until the tournament starts to sign up for it. If you don't know how to sign up, it's right here. So for this tournament, there's only certain Pokemon that are eligible, and they're listed right here, and this is just kind of a mess. So when I was looking at this, I thought I want to organize this better so I know which Pokemon I want to try to use in this tournament. So at first I made a Google Doc and it just didn't turn out very nice. And then I thought, well, I might as well make a tier list. So that's what I ended up doing. I made a tier list so I think it's nice and organized which Pokemon are going to be the best for this tournament to help make a team. All right, so let's go check out the tier list. First off, the Gigantamax forms on the bottom here. I have these Pokemon on my tier list. I just didn't feel like I need to put their Gigantamax form on there as well. I think it's obvious that, if you're using these Pokemon, you're pretty much going to use their Gigantamax form for most of them. So I just use their normal form instead of their Gigantamax form. Well, saying that, Dynamax and Gigantamax is allowed in this tournament, so Dynamax is back. So that makes, obviously, certain Pokemon better because a Pokemon like Colossal is way better when there's Dynamax and Gigantamax versus when there isn't. So obviously this tier list was made with that in mind. So my D list here at the bottom, these are pretty much all Pokemon that I would never use. Maybe I'm wrong on some of these Pokemon. You can let me know in the comments, but I don't think there's any real use for these Pokemon, so I'm not going to spend much time talking about these ones. Here they are. You can have a look at them. Pause the video if you need to, but I'm not going to spend time talking about these ones. I wouldn't use these Pokemon. The Pokemon I have here in the C tier are Pokemon that I think could be used if you have a good idea for them, but I don't think they're very good. But yeah, like I said, if you have a good idea for them, these are Pokemon who could be useful. They could do something for you if you have a specific idea of how you want to use them. So at the top here, first two Pokemon, Amistar and Kabutops, these are the only two Swift Swim Pokemon. So if you wanted to try to make a Rain team, you would have to use one of these two Pokemon for your Swift Swim Pokemon. There isn't a Rain setter, but you could use a Pokemon like Meowstic to do Rain Dance to set up the rain for one of these Pokemon, so it is possible to use one of these Pokemon for Swift Swim, but you'd have to use Meowstic's Prankster ability to get up the rain and then use one of these Pokemon. Same is true for the next three Pokemon. These three are the three Pokemon that have Chlorophyll that are allowed in this tournament. Again, there is no Sunsetter, there isn't Ninetales or Torkoal, but you could use a Pokemon, again, like Meowstic or Sableye to set up the sun with Sunny Day, and then use Chlorophyll on one of these Pokemon. Again, with these 5 Pokemon right here, you could make a Rain team, you could make a Sun team. I don't think any of them are particularly great in this format, but you could use it. Maybe you have a way to make one of these Pokemon work. Again, I don't think they're great, but maybe you could find a way to make it happen. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about every single Pokemon here. Again, I think these are just solid Pokemon that you could find a way to use, but I don't think they're great. There aren't a lot of electric Pokemon, so Electivire could maybe be good. Same thing with Magmortar, not a lot of fire Pokemon. There's not a lot of fighting Pokemon, so you could maybe find a way to use Toxicroak. Ditto here, I have Ditto in the C tier because I don't think Ditto is great in this tournament. It's really good in Series 10 right now because you can use it to get a second restricted Pokemon, but in this particular tournament, I think it's just too inconsistent and I don't think it's great. Other Pokemon here, Crawdaunt, this thing gets adaptability, so that could be good in the right situation. I think people use Zoroark just because of its ability to disguise who's being used in the starting lineup. People like to use him. I don't think that he's great. I don't think that's a great strategy. I know other people like it, but to me, it's not very good. But again, in the right situation, it could be useful. Slurpuff is a Pokemon that gets Unburden, and so is Thievul. I should put these next to each other. These two Pokemon get Unburden. So again, you could find a way to make them useful. Both of them get good moves, And if you can use Unburden, really the only way that you can use Unburden with these two Pokemon in this format is with Galar Weezing. He's the only one that sets up a terrain on entry. So you could use Galar Weezing to do a Misty terrain and give Misty Seed to one of these Pokemon. But then you have one of these two Pokemon and a Galar Weezing out in play. And that combo, those two Pokemon together just aren't great. So, I mean, you also could put a weakness policy on them and hit them with a super effective priority move. But again, I just don't think that that's great for either one of these Pokemon in this format. But again, you could find a way to use it possibly. These two Pokemon are interesting. Palossand, its ability is really good, but without Water Shuriken, it makes it less good in my opinion. You still could set up Trick Room and hit Aqua Jet into Palossand to get a +2 defense. Again, I just don't think that that's that great here, but it could be. Malamar is always one that's interesting because of its ability. Again, just another one that I don't think is great. Blacephalon is another one who has just a super high special attack and it's pretty fast, but it has like no defense, right? So I could just sucker punch it and knock it out, but again, in the right situation, could be useful. There's a few other Pokemon here that could be good under Trick Room. Mr. Rhyme could be useful for Screen Cleaner because Grimmsnarl is in here, so its ability Screen Cleaner gets rid of screens when it enters the battle. So maybe you could find a way to make that useful. It also gets Ice Shard, so maybe you could use it to proc a weakness policy. Again, these are just some decent Pokemon. They could be good in the right situation, but they're not fantastic. Alright, next my B tier Pokemon. So I'm going to talk about this first row to start. The reason I have all these Pokemon up here on the first row other than Gengar, these are all the Pokemon that get Tailwind. So obviously Tailwind is a great move. There's no Whimsicott or Tornadus, so there's no Prankster Tailwind. So if you want to get a Tailwind up, you're going to have to use one of these Pokemon. I put them all here just so that they'd be next to each other. I don't know that these are all B tier Pokemon, but I think some of them are. So I kind of put them all next to each other for organization purposes more than anything else. But these are all of your options for Tailwind if you want to try to set up a Tailwind. The fastest of these Pokemon are Aerodactyl and Crobat. So they both have 130 for speed. So the only thing faster than them is Dragapult in this competition. So as long as you're not playing Dragapult, they should go first and set up a Tailwind for you. So I guess these might be your top two options. I know Noivern is a very popular Tailwind Pokemon. I don't think there's any way I would use Sigilyph or Mandibuzz. Corviknight is obviously a really good Pokemon. I just don't know that I would use it for Tailwind, but I think it definitely belongs in the B tier. It's a very bulky Pokemon. If you don't have a great answer for Corviknight, it has a lot of great moves with Roost, and I believe it gets Iron Defense. If you let this thing get set up, it can be a real nuisance, and there's not a lot of great counters to it. There aren't a lot of great electric Pokemon or fire Pokemon. So Corviknight could be really good in this format. Okay, so Drifblim I also don't think I would use for Tailwind, but it's another Unburden Pokemon. So people like to use Ice Shard and Weakness Policy. So they'll put Weakness Policy on the Drifblim, hit it with Ice Shard, and now, you're boosting its special attack and its speed. The problem with Drifblim is that its defenses aren't great from what I remember. So yeah, its defenses are god awful, 44 and 54. But that's the way that people use it, is to proc its weakness policy, which is going to set off an Unburden. So now it's going to be the fastest Pokemon on the field and do a ton of damage. Alright, other B tier Pokemon. Gengar is always a solid support Pokemon. It gets moves like Perish Song, Icy Wind. I'm trying to think what else it gets. I guess a good thing about Gengar is that it can't be faked out. So it provides some good support. It's a popular Pokemon. You're going to see it a lot. Marowak is always a good Trick Room Pokemon that can deal a lot of damage. I have both Weezings here. Both Weezings could be useful. I talked about how you could use Galar Weezing for setting up a Misty Terrain. Also, they both get Neutralizing Gas. So Neutralizing Gas could be really good here because Colossal's in this format. So you could use one of these two Pokemon next to obviously something that's good against Colossal. That way they can't activate Steam Engine because of the neutralizing gas, and then you're able to knock out Colossal with like a water or ground Pokemon. So these two Pokemon could be really good. Put Drapion on here. I know a lot of people like Drapion. I don't know if it's spectacular, but Sniper is a good ability. So if you use Sniper and then put on a Scope Lens and use moves like Night Slash and Cross Poison, it could be a good Pokemon. I was talking before with Corviknight about how there's not a lot of electric and fire Pokemon. So Rotom Heat is both of those. So Rotom Heat could be really good here. Again, not a lot of fire Pokemon, not a lot of electric Pokemon. It has both. So it could be a really good option here if you're looking for a fire or electric Pokemon. I talked about Meowstic earlier about how it can be used to set up rain or sun. So it could be used to set up weather teams. It also gets Fake Out, Skill Swap. So there's a lot of good things you can do with Meowstic. It's a prankster Pokemon. So could be helpful. Prankster and Fake Out are two very good things to have on a Pokemon. So Meowstic could be good. So I didn't talk about a sand team yet. These two Pokemon right here could be used for a sand team, Jigglypuff and Lycanroc. So Jigglypuff sets up the Sandstorm, and not this form of Lycanroc, but just the normal form of Lycanroc gets Sand Rush. So that could actually be really good in this format. Again, I just talked about how Colossal is in this, and you're going to be seeing Gigantamax Colossal all over the place, so you're going to want counters for Gigantamax Colossal. And this duo right here could completely shut that down because you would set up the sand, so then you could use Max Quake with Lycanroc and knock out Colossal. It also gets Crunch, so you could use Max Darkness into Dragapult. So this duo could be used to help stop Colossal. Also, just Sand Rush in general is really good. Lycanroc's the only one who gets Sand Rush in this tournament. So this duo could be very good. Also, Jigglypuff could be really good in Trick Room. It's one of the better Trick Room Pokemon in this format. So if you're able to get a Trick Room up, he could do a ton of damage as your main Trick Room Pokemon. So on that same subject, Cursola has a huge special attack at 145, and its special defense is like 130. So this is another Pokemon that could be used for Trick Room. Could be a really good Trick Room Pokemon. Next, these are two good Trick Room setters. So you've got Cofagrigus, if I'm saying that right, and Jellicent. So both of these Pokemon can set up Trick Room. And then Cofagrigus could be used for like skill swap to swap abilities with someone like Golisopod so that you can get rid of that emergency exit on Golisopod. So you could set up a Trick Room. Golisopod's another Pokemon that's really slow. Do skill swap. Now Golisopod gets Mummy, or I think that's what the ability is. And now, you're getting rid of that emergency exit and you're able to utilize that Pokemon really well. And this is a Pokemon that, being bug type, there's going to be a lot of dark Pokemon. It's called the Spooky Cup for a reason, so there's going to be a lot of dark Pokemon. So Bug could be really good. Also, it's a water Pokemon. We just talked about how Colossal is going to be used a lot, so it's a great counter for Colossal. So that could be a good possible combination for setting up Trick Room and getting rid of Golisopod's ability. Next two Pokemon here, these are the two Pokemon that get Defiant. So Incineroar is one of the Pokemon that's allowed in this format. You're going to see a ton of Incineroar, so you might want to use one of these two Pokemon. They're the only two that get Defiant. Defiant obviously boosts attack if they get a stat drop, so it's a good counter for Intimidate. So you could use these Pokemon if you're expecting to go against Incineroar, which you're going to see a ton of Incineroars in this format. So these two Pokemon could be really good for their Defiant ability. Hydreigon is a good solid Pokemon. It's fast with a strong special attack. So Hydreigon could be used as a fast special attack sweeper. It gets a wide range of moves, so it's a pretty solid Pokemon. The only problem is it's Dragon and Dark, so it takes ×4 damage from Fairy. Otherwise, it's a pretty solid Pokemon that's pretty versatile. Aegislash could be really good in this format. There aren't a lot of steel types, and it's got a really good ability, so I think that's something that could be useful. I think that Trick Room is going to be really good in this format, so Araquanid could be really good under Trick Room. Again, has a great ability, a really strong water bug Pokemon that you could use under Trick Room. Salazzle's on here because It's a fake out Pokemon. I talked about how there weren't a lot of fire types, so it's a fire fake out Pokemon. It also has poison moves for against fairies, so Salazzle could be a solid Pokemon. Xurkitree could be good in the right situation. It has an incredibly high special attack, but it's not a great Pokemon. Maybe I should have put this one in the C tier, but under the right situation with its super high special attack, could be a good Pokemon. Nagandale here, I think could be a good Pokemon because there aren't a lot of really fast Pokemon. With its speed at 121, it's one of the faster Pokemon in this format, and it's got a really high special attack. So it could be a good special attacking sweeper in this format. Poltegeist, I don't think this is a great Pokemon, but I put it in the B tier because I know there's somebody out there who's going to put a weakness policy on this thing and Shadow Sneak it, and then it's going to be going first, and it's got a really high special attack to begin with. So when you set off his ability to double his speed, and then you're setting off the weakness policy to double its special attack, it can be really fast and deal out a ton of damage. So I know somebody is going to be using that in this format. So it could be a good Pokemon. I don't think it's great because it could be super easy to knock out. Another one that you could just sucker punch and it's gone. But who knows? You might see it. It can do a lot of damage and it can be really fast. Shedinja, I feel like a lot of people are going to use this Pokemon in this format. The problem is there's a lot of good counters for it. There's obviously tons of Dark and Ghost Pokemon, so I don't know how great it's going to be, but I know people are going to use it. I talked about Golisopod already, so last two here, Dynamax, he could be really good under Trick Room because he's a Ghost Grass type. There's not a lot of Grass Pokemon, and with his ability, he basically gets stabbed for steel moves too. And I talked about with Aegislash how there's not a lot of good steel Pokemon. So the good thing about this Pokemon is it basically gets stabbed for grass, ghost, and steel. And grass and steel aren't very common, so this could be a good Pokemon under Trick Room. And lastly, Chandelure, another strong fire type. Again, I talked about how there's not a lot of great fire types, but Chandelure has a huge special attack, really good fire type, and people like using Chandelure as an imprison Pokemon for stopping Trick Room. And like I said just a little bit ago, I think Trick Room is going to be used a lot in this format, so Chandelure could be a good Pokemon for dealing a ton of damage and stopping Trick Rooms. My A tier Pokemon here. First one I've got Umbreon. Umbreon's just a great bulky support Pokemon. I think you're going to see a lot of it in this format. It gets Yawn, Foul Play. It's really good, especially under Trick Room, so I think you're going to see a lot of Umbreon. Sableye is a very good Pokemon, one of the few pranksters in this format. It also gets Fake Out, and a really good thing about Sableye is that it gets Quash, so it gets Prankster and Quash. That could be really good here, not just for slowing down fast Pokemon, but also for when Trick Room goes up. Now you can make that really slow Trick Room Pokemon go last, so it can be used against a Trick Room team and it can be used against a really fast team. So I think Sableye could be really good. Weavile could be really good here. It's one of the faster Pokemon in the format and it gets Fake Out. Maybe A is a little high. Maybe I should have put it in B, but it's probably the best ice type Pokemon. It's a really strong dark Pokemon. It's fast, gets Fake Out, so it's got a lot of good things going for it. Maybe A is a little bit too high, but I like it. Rotom Wash here is, I think, a really good Pokemon in this format. It's a great answer for Colossal. Again, I talked about how there's not a lot of great electric Pokemon. Rotom Wash is also probably one of the best water types, if not the best water type. So I think you're going to see a lot of Rotom Wash. Leopard is going to be used a lot. Leopard's going to be used with Hatterene. So you're going to see Leopard and Hatterene quite a bit. The way that that works is people will do max guard with Hatterene and they'll use Trick Room as their max guard and then they'll click Copycat with Leopard so that Leopard sets up Trick Room. So you're going to see that. So you're going to want an answer for that. Leopard is going to be used quite a bit in this format. Again, not a lot of prankster Pokemon with Fake Out, and Leopard and Sableye are probably the two best ones that get Fake Out and prankster in this format. You're going to see a lot of Gothitelle. It's got a great ability. It also gets Fake Out. It also gets Trick Room, and it gets Hypnosis, so it's a really good support Pokemon. and obviously it traps your opponent from being able to switch their Pokemon. So Gothitelle, I think you're going to see a lot of. So I put Volcarona in the A tier here because Volcarona is the only Pokemon that gets redirection in this competition. So it's the only Rage Powder Pokemon. There are no Follow Me Pokemon. So it's your best bet if you want redirection. So I think Volcarona is going to be used quite a bit. I really like Nihilego. Again, maybe A tier is a little too high. But again, it's a Pokemon that has good speed and a strong special attack. Maybe it should be in the B tier, but it's a good Pokemon. I also talked about how there's going to be a lot of Incineroars being used, so being able to hit Incineroar for super effective rock moves that are special attack, like it's going to be able to potentially one-shot Incineroar, so it's good for that. So I don't know, maybe A tier is a little bit high, but I think it's going to be a good Pokemon. Dracovish could be really good here with a Scarf, so if you... Ooh. Something that I just realized here is Dracovish can also be used with Jigglypuff because it also gets Sand Rush. So a Dracovish Jigglypuff team could be very dangerous here. Fishious Rend is just such a good move. So if you're able to get Dragapult to go first with either Jigglypuff or with a Choice Scarf, Dracovish could be very good, especially with Colossal in this format. You're going to see a lot of Colossal teams. So Dracovish could be really good. Spectre is a really good special sweeper in this format. It's really fast, really high special attack. The only problem is Dragapult outspeeds it, but if you're not going up against Dragapult or if you're matching it with Volcarona for Rage Powder, it could be a really strong Pokemon. So lastly, I put Crocodile in the A tier. Again, this is another one that maybe A tier is a little bit high. The reason I put it in A tier is because if you put a Scarf on this, this could be a great answer for Colossal. And when I was putting this together, a lot of the thought that I was putting into this was based off of Colossal because you're going to be seeing Dragapult Colossal all the time. So Crocodile answers both of them. He's Dark and Ground. Ground is 4 times effective against Colossal, and Dark is super effective to Dragapult. It also gets Intimidate, and we know how good Intimidate is as an ability. It also gets Moxie. Moxie's a great ability, so maybe A tier is a little bit high, but I feel like if you put a Scarf on this thing, Crocodile could be a really good Pokemon. So lastly, for the S tier, these two Pokemon you're going to see all the time. Dragapult Colossal. Colossal is by far the best Gigantamax Pokemon in this set. Colossal won 2 Players' Cups. We know how strong Colossal can be. And Dragapult Colossal was the most common combination. So the fact that both of these Pokemon are in this tournament, it's going to be very dangerous. That's why, like I was just talking about in the A tier with Crocodile, you're going to have an answer for Colossal, regardless of what your team is. You have to have an answer for Colossal. You're going to see it, and it's very strong. So, yeah, these are probably the 2 best Pokemon and possibly the 2 Pokemon that you're going to see the most in this tournament. So, obvious S tier Pokemon. Incineroar, regardless of the format, is always one of the top Pokemon. It gets a lot of great support moves. It's probably the best support Pokemon in the game. So, naturally, I have it in the S tier here. You're going to see a ton of Incineroar. Intimidate's a great ability. It gets Fake Out, Parting Shot, Snarl. It's just such a good Pokemon. You're going to see a ton of it. So I put Grimmsnarl up here because I feel like screens could be really valuable in this tournament. So having Prankster and being able to set up Light Screen and Reflect right away, Grimmsnarl could be very dangerous. So I feel like you're going to see quite a few Grimmsnarls in this tournament. Mimikyu, I talked about how I feel like Trick Room is going to be very good in this format. So you're going to see a lot of Dragapult and Colossal. Trick Room is a good way to stop Dragapult and Colossal because that duo wants to go fast. So Mimikyu is probably the best Trick Room setter out of this group of Pokemon. There's other Pokemon who can set up Trick Room. We talked about some of them already, but Mimikyu with its ability is probably the best Trick Room setter. It's also very strong. There aren't a lot of great fairy Pokemon, so between Mimikyu and Hatterene, those are probably the 2 best fairy Pokemon. Fairy is obviously going to be good against the Dragon Pokemon in this format. Mimikyu also gets Shadow Sneak, so it's able to set up Trick Room and then use Shadow Sneak to proc a weakness policy on a Psychic or Ghost type Pokemon. So I feel like you're going to see a lot of Mimikyu. And then lastly, Hatterene, probably the best fairy Pokemon here, potentially the best Trick Room sweeper. So before when I was talking about Leopard, I talked about how people are going to use these two Pokemon. I think you're going to see that combination a lot. So they're going to use the Leopard to set up Trick Room, and then Hatterene probably gets the second best Gigantamax move in this format. It's a really good move, confuses both of the opposing Pokemon. It's a really annoying move to go against, so yeah, I feel like you're going to see a lot of Leopard and Hatterene. You're also going to see a ton of Dragapult and Colossal. So when you're building a team, you definitely want to have answers for those two combinations. Those are two of the better combinations in this format. So yeah, you're going to want to have an answer for that. You're going to want to have answers for Incineroar as well because you're going to see a ton of Incineroar. If you're not using a Trick Room team, you're going to need an answer for Mimikyu to stop Mimikyu from setting up Trick Room. So maybe you put Whirlwind on a Pokemon. I believe Volcarona gets Whirlwind, so maybe that's an answer to get rid of Mimikyu. Another potential way to stop Mimikyu would be using one of the Weezings to nullify its ability and then hit it with a special attack to knock it out. So you're going to want to have answers for these Pokemon up here. So I think that's pretty much everything I've got here. There's a lot of interesting Pokemon that could be utilized in this tournament. It should be a pretty fun tournament. Let me know if you think I messed up any of these tiers here. Maybe I rated some of these Pokemon too high or too low, so just let me know what you think. But yeah, this is definitely something you have to watch out for is Dragapult Colossal. You're going to see that a ton in this tournament, so make sure you have an answer for that. And I'm excited to play in this tournament and see what people are able to come up with. Should be pretty fun.